guys, we've learned about so many different types of books this year. Over the next few days, we are going to be reading all different types of books. Fiction books, nonfiction books, books that I love, books with silly characters, sad characters, lots of different types of books to close out the year and celebrate all the great reading we have done. After each book, you're going to be using your reader's journal to write about what you learned in the book. You can write about a favorite part, a favorite character, something you learned, something you liked, anything. It's your journal, as long as you write pictures and sentences. Let's get started. Today, I'm going to read a book by Ezra Jack Keats. And if you remember back in the beginning of the year, we read a lot of books by Ezra Jack Keats. We read A Snowy Day, we read Peter's Chair, we read lots of Ezra Jack Keats books. And we remembered that Ezra Jack Keats does lots of things as an author. Sometimes he draws pictures of kids, and those kids are in more than one of his stories. And sometimes he tells stories that every kid can relate to. Realistic fiction. He made up the stories, but they sound like things that could happen in real life. Let's read. Think about what you notice. Ezra Jack Keats, A Letter to Amy. A Letter to Amy. Ezra Jack Keats, A Letter to Amy. I'm writing a letter to Amy. I'm inviting her to my party, Peter announced. Why don't you just ask her? You didn't write to anyone else, said his mother. Peter stared at the sheet of paper for a while and said, well, this way it's sort of special. He folded the letter quite a few times, put it in the envelope, and sealed it. Now I'll mail it, he said. What did you write? His mother asked. Will you please come to my birthday party, Peter? You should tell her when to come. So he wrote on the back of the envelope, it is this Saturday at 2. Now I'll mail it. Put on a stamp. He did and started to leave. Wear your raincoat. It looks like rain. He put it on and said, it looks like rain. You better stay in, Willie. You might even remember from when we read Pet Show. You might remember the dog Willie. Or you might remember Peter from Peter's Chair and Pet Show. Ezra Jack Keats has some of the same characters in all of his books. Kind of like Mo Willems uses Elephant and Piggy in lots of her books, or Nuffle Bunny and Trixie in lots of his books. You better stay in, Willie. And he ran out to mail his letter. Walking to the mailbox, Peter looked at the sky. Dark clouds raced across it like wild horses. He glanced up at Amy's window. She wasn't there. Only Peppy, her parrot, sat peering down. Willie, didn't I tell you to stay home? Silly dog. Peter thought, what will the boys say when they see a girl at my party? Suddenly, there was a flash of lightning and a roar of thunder. A strong wind blew the letter out of his hand. How do you think Peter feels right now? You can say, I think, because. Yeah, maybe he feels sad or scared or worried or nervous. Lots of good words we could use here. Peter chased the letter. He tried to stop it with his foot, but it blew away. Then it flew high into the air. And landed, skipping across a hopscotch game. The leather flew this way and that. Peter chased it this way and that. He couldn't catch it. Big drops of rain began to fall. Just then, someone turns the corner. It was Amy. She waved to him. The letter flew right towards her. She mustn't see it or the surprise will be spoiled. They both ran for the letter. In his great hurry, Peter bumped into Amy. He caught the letter right before she could see it was for her. Quickly, he stuffed the letter into the mailbox. He looked for Amy, but she had run off crying. Now she'll never come to my party, thought Peter. He saw his reflection in the street. It looked all mixed up. Go like this if you've ever felt like that, where you feel all mixed up. You have so many feelings and it feels weird inside. I know I felt like that before. Like when I'm happy and sad and disappointed and I just have a lot of feelings. When Peter got back to his house, his mother asked, "Did you mail your letter?" "Yes," he said sadly. Saturday came at last. Everybody arrived, but Amy. "Shall I bring the cake out now?" his mother asked Peter. "Let's wait a little bit," said Peter. Why do you think he wants to wait? You can say, "I think," because maybe he's waiting for Amy. "Now, bring it out now," chanted the boys. "All right," said Peter slowly. "Bring it out now." Just then, the door opened. In walked Amy with her parrot. "A girl? Ugh," said Eddie. Silly Eddie, he doesn't know. "Happy birthday, Peter," said Amy. "Happy birthday, Peter," repeated the parrot. Peter's mother brought in the cake she had baked and lit the candles. Everyone sang. "Make a wish," cried Amy. "Wish for a truck full of ice cream," shouted Eddie. "A store full of candy and no stomachache." But Peter made his own wish and blew out all the candles at once. What do you think Peter wished for? You can say, "I think." The end. What did you think of the book? Your job today is going to be to write about it in your reader's journal. Remember, you can write about a character you liked. You can write about your favorite part. You can say, "I like this book because," or "I didn't like this book because." And make sure you write the title, "A Letter to Amy," and the author, Ezra Jack Keats. And a good page has pictures and sentences. You just listened to the story, A Letter to Amy. Write a response in your reader's journal. Don't forget to write the title, the author, draw a picture, and write sentences.